Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Young Hero Rants. Right off the bat, I'm going to cut out any sort of pretense. I have found the second worst person in the Brony analysis community. I've been investigating Vida for the last few weeks, and the amount of incriminating evidence I managed to gather about this guy is honestly staggering. I normally don't like to go into these videos with the goal of exposing people, but this is one of the rare instances where I have to do it. This is going to be a full-on bombshell expose. So strap yourselves in, because once I put my metaphorical foot on the metaphorical accelerator, I'm not letting go. So if you guys are ready to go, I'm ready to start examining. Let's do this. Vida likes to frame everything he does under the guise of being moral. He does what he does because he has moral principles and moral integrity. He does what he does because he genuinely cares about the community. He's the most moral person of all time, and I can happily confirm he doesn't do anything immoral like doxing people. No, that's completely ridiculous. Vida would never do anything like that. He would never be morally repugnant enough to even try it. Vida and Digibro used to be friends. Unfortunately, that friendship went up in smoke and they now hate each other's guts, but that's neither here or there. In this Kiwi Farms post, Vida talks about his experiences and what it was like to be around Digibro, and it's pretty typical. Until the last sentence. You see that green highlight at the end? Well, that is a Google Images link to Digibro's former address when he lived in Virginia. No, I am not kidding. He actually did this. He actually doxed Digibro. I can't even fathom why anyone would want to dox anyone, but this is just... wow. Now, yes, I know most people don't like Digibro because of the whole lolicon thing, which is perfectly understandable. But with that being said, it is never okay to dox somebody. I don't care how much you hate them. I don't care how deplorable, unsavory, or despicable they are. You should never resort to doxing. If you want to criticize somebody because of their character, actions, or personality, that's fine. But it should never get to the point where you're revealing their personal information on the internet. I really don't get the logic behind that, and since Kiwi Farms has very warped moral standards. In fact, I don't think they have any moral standards at all. They had no problem with him posting this. Now, I know what Vida's probably gonna say. Oh, I didn't dox him. He doesn't live there anymore. He moved to New York. So, technically, because I linked to his former address, I technically didn't dox him, so I technically didn't do anything wrong. That's all well and good, but nowhere in that thread did you actually inform anybody that he didn't live at that address anymore. You gave everybody the impression that he still lived there. You talked about his house. You said, hey, if anybody questions whether or not I was at his house, here's the link. That's as clear as day. If you wanted to make everyone aware, you should have just let them know, hey, he doesn't live here anymore, this is his former address. Not that that would make it any better, it would still be pretty scummy. Seriously, if he doesn't live there anymore, why even link the address? As a matter of fact, why even link it at all? That's just weird, creepy, and incredibly invasive. Oh, but I don't like Digibro, he's into lolicon, he's socially awkward, he's into some really weird shit. I don't like him, so that gives me the right to dox him, because that makes it okay. No, that doesn't make it okay. That is not okay under any stretch of the imagination, and if you think that's bad, he didn't just stop the doxing at Digibro, he also doxed Anthony, aka for no good reason. In FNGR's dedicated Kiwi Farms thread, Vida asks if he can post Anthony's phone number for the sole purpose of wanting to get some use out of it from the people that were in that thread. What propelled him to do this, I don't know. I guess he just wanted to be a malicious dick because he hates Anthony with the fire of 1,000 suns. Doesn't make it any better, and I'm not excusing his shitty behavior. I'm just providing an explanation as to why he could have possibly done it. Anyway, so he asks, and since, as I mentioned before, Kiwi Farms has very warped moral standards, they had no problem with him posting the phone number, and then 2 posts later, he posts the number. Now, I had to censor out the number because of obvious reasons. I don't understand what could propel somebody to do something like this. But hey, it's there. It's there in full view, or it would be if I didn't censor it, but it was there right at the top for everybody to see. No, Vida is totally a good person, guys. He totally does this to be moral. He is totally a moral person. Vida is also alleged to have doxed a 17-year-old girl at the time by the name of Pinky Posh, although I do not have solid confirmation on that since it comes from the mouth of Digibro. And considering Digibro is a pretty unsavory individual in his own right, I would take that allegation with a massive grain of salt. However, what I do have solid confirmation on is his implication of doxing Lightning Bliss. Yeah, that Lightning Bliss. Considering a counter notice, but I'm happy with what I got now from the copyright claim in the first place. Decisions. Checked what all people could find about me with a Google search. Charges brought against me are still findable, but luckily they all list voluntary dismissal, aka the guys pressing charges chose to drop the charges. Shit's nice. I just realized the DMCA takedown notice I got from Lightning Bliss. It includes her name, address, and email. Time to see what I can find out with this info. Also, doxing is not illegal, at least not when it's this public of info, so there was no intent to do anything criminal in the first place. I'm double fine. Hey, dumbass, let's assume you're right for a moment. I didn't dox her. Any private information was given to me via the DMCA. She handed me her private info willingly. I submitted a counter notice, so by your logic, she doxed me as well. While he doesn't threaten to dox her, he very clearly implies it. And I love the mental gymnastics he tries to employ by saying, I didn't do anything wrong. I totally didn't do anything wrong. I didn't dox her. Doxing isn't illegal. Oh, but I implied that I was going to dox her because I have her name, address, and email, which implies that I was going to dox her because I said, let's see what I can do with all this information. But I totally wasn't doing anything wrong, guys. I'm the innocent one here. I'm the victim. Seriously, I don't know if you did that to justify your shitty behavior, or you're just simply retarded, but the amount of mental gymnastics you employ to justify you implying to dox somebody you don't like is, quite frankly, astounding. Dear God. Oh, and by the way, the reason why her private information was in the DMCA is because that's what people do when they file DMCA claims. That is a preemptive measure on the rare occurrence that a copyright claim dispute actually goes to court. It usually never does, but again, just as a preemptive measure to ensure that, if it does go to court, yeah, of course they're gonna, give out their private info. That's what they do. And no, the DMCA was not public, because when people file DMCA claims, that's done privately, and then when a video gets taken down and YouTube notifies the person, that's also done privately. So no, it was not public. It was very much private. It was just an excuse you tried to use to justify you trying to dox Lightning Bliss and implying it. Do you see why the Brony analysis community hates this motherfucker? We're only like 7-8 minutes into this video at this point, and I already want to kill myself because this is just crazy. This is insanity at the highest order. That was merely the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this disgusting excuse for a human being, because he has plenty of skeletons in his closet. Vida has no filter. He's a very rash person. He doesn't stop to think before he does something, he just does it, which results in him doing some really crazy shit, like, for example, leaking art assets. This all started when Vida leaked a bunch of art assets from Josh Scorcher in retaliation for a Tumblr post Josh wrote criticizing Vida and explaining the reasons why he was kicked out of a Discord server that Josh just happened to be a member of. And he didn't stop there. He then leaked art assets from the group known as The Secret Rift, and then he leaked assets from Dr. Wolf. He centralized all of these assets into Google Drive folders and then posted them for everybody to download and do God knows what with. Centralized is a fancier word for stealing, and that's exactly what Vida did. He essentially stole all of these assets and then leaked them because he was upset that Josh criticized him. I'm not even joking. It's kind of ironic that he calls other people pussy bitches, because this is a pretty pussy bitch thing to do, in my humble opinion. Now, I downloaded some of these assets to confirm their validity, and they are all there. Just look at this shit. All there. Poses, backgrounds, OCs, character designs, basically anything that you can think of that appears in these videos are there. They're all fucking there. It's insane. It is absolute insanity, honestly. I don't understand what could possess somebody to do something like this. This is basically the internet equivalent of a child having a temper tantrum because they didn't get a fidget spinner. I mean, look at this. Vida went fucking ham. Jesus Christ. It is a treasure trove of stolen art assets. Now, I do not know how he was able to get the assets from Josh Scorcher and Dr. Wolf, but I do know that he got the Secret Rift assets from Foul Play because Foul Play stole them from Lightning Bliss and then gave them to Vida, which is incredibly ironic because he had made a video 4 days prior criticizing Lightning Bliss for using stolen assets. It's just, oh my god, it is absolutely ironic. Oh god. And it's just, oh, wow. If you're wondering why the Brony Analysis community hates this guy, and why he's a disliked figure, and why nobody gives him the time of day, shit like this is exactly why. Because when you do shit like this, you're not exactly going to have friends, and nobody is going to like you. Then again, Vida doesn't care because he's applied this scorched earth theory. So, you know, he doesn't care if he pisses people off. He doesn't care that what he's doing is scummy and completely immoral. He's gonna do it because he has such a ginormous ego that he cannot foresee that he's actually hurting other people because he's a fucking dick. By the way, I wasn't kidding about the whole Lightning Bliss thing. I actually reached out to her, and she confirmed to me that she did in fact create those art assets that Vida stole. And, you want to know what's even more fucked up? Those art assets that he stole were paid for. Yes, the other members of the Secret Rift paid Bliss to draw these art assets. And then Vida stole them. Like, who does shit like this? How much of an oversensitive motherfucker do you have to be to leak art assets that don't belong to you because you got your little fifis hurt by somebody criticizing you? And then on top of that, make a video 4 days earlier criticizing one of the people that you fervently hate of using stolen art assets. Yeah, he made that video on Bliss on February 21st. These assets were leaked on February 25th. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at that video, shall we?
Back in mid-2017, an intense discussion happened in the replies of one of Robin0928's tweets concerning a recently commissioned rig. Mintyroot had shown up in the comments and began informing him that the artwork he had paid $60 for had been made from stolen double Rainboom assets, to which Lightning Bliss and her flock of blindly faithful fans took offense to. A well-intentioned comment to inform someone that they had been scammed turned into an avalanche of constant back and forth, as Minty provided constant evidence to his claims, only to have people deny it, attack him as a person, and insist that he should have no reason to care if someone else is getting scammed. Which is honestly borderline sociopathic season, but this isn't really about you at the moment. She stated in no uncertain terms that, yes, the puppet was stolen, I'm sorry, remixed. But apparently not so remixed that Mintyroot couldn't come in and tell they were the exact same puppet and prove how.
You must give appropriate credit, provide a link to the license, and indicate if changes were made. You may do so in any reasonable manner, but not in any way that suggests the licensor endorses you or your use. Considering you say people who say the assets are from Double Rainbow are slandering you and have never once provided a link to the license, I think it's safe to say you're in clear violation of condition number 1. Number 2. You may not use the material for commercial purposes. Oh boy, we just hit your most major offense, didn't we? You do commissions where you clearly use Double Rainbow assets and outright charge egregious prices for them, up to $100 or more as a matter of fact. Even if the licensing was just boiled down to this one condition, Bliss would clearly be in the wrong here. But we still have one more note to hit. Number 3. If you remix, transform, or build upon the material, you must distribute your contributions under the same license as the original. Do I even need to make a point here? Everyone watching this knows exactly where I'm going with this last one. That's 3 strikes, Bliss. I'd give you credit for not applying additional restrictions, but oh, who am I kidding? With your track record being what it is so far, I'd go so far as to bet money you've done that as well.
Now, to everyone who has paid Bliss for poses, you should be outraged. Of course, some of you, namely Chuggle, may bring up that you're happy with the finished product you got from her. And while I can't convince you that her work is subpar, I think it's not unreasonable to say that she's put you, your artwork, and your channels all at risk. The Double Rainbow assets are functionally DHX's property given their origins. It's not an unreasonable assumption to assume that if DHX comes down on Bliss for her actions, anyone who uses her clearly term-breaking assets will be open to copyright strikes and DMCAs as well. And we all know how much this community loves those.
2 days after this video was posted, Lightning Bliss posted a public statement on her DeviantArt account addressing this entire situation. I'm going to read a few excerpts from it so you can understand what really happened. Hello everyone, I come upon serious times at this moment. As some might know, a video was made on me discussing my use of pony assets and not being original in my work. I've already gone ahead and made a public statement in my home chat community known as the Secret Rift. However, I feel it is best I make one here as well. I'm here to address the topic from my side and to list the facts as clear as possible. Around the year 2014, I downloaded what appeared to be free downloadable pony assets that I assumed were fan-made since I didn't see any indicator of it being owned by Hasbro, and I saw an opportunity to have a founding basis to start my own pony puppet making. After years of remixing the assets repeatedly over and over, I felt that I had finally turned the assets into my own style, and so began selling them to those who would commission me for them. I have been upfront in the past that I originally did download assets and remix them as my own. This I've never denied, and as far as others have told me, I've done no wrong. But moving forward, in light of this video, and with some help from Josh Scorcher and Minty Root, it has been brought to my attention that the assets I originally remixed were in fact leaked assets from the MLP show itself. This is both devastating and downright a shock to my morals and ethics. I have, in fact, been profiting from original assets of the show despite my heavy remixing. I now know I'm what you call a victim of ignorance, but this does not excuse the fact that I did do this, and it is wrong regardless. I've been struggling how to face this mistake I've made, but realize there really is no other way of facing it than to go head-on, with as much transparency as possible. I may not have known better back then, but that's not an excuse to keep doing this now. So, as of right now, all of my former remixed pony puppets that have risk of show style assets have been officially deleted. I no longer have any remixed version, let alone the original files that I used to have years ago. I am currently in the process of building everything I originally established from scratch that I will plan on using as future commissions. This may take me a few days if I focus on nothing but that. Despite all this, years of practicing with my former remix puppets has given me confidence to redo everything and build from hooves up. I'm not proud of what has happened. Ignorance or not, I still did it, and those who have purchased puppets from me put trust in my abilities, and I feel that I have failed you all. Now that I have been open on the situation, I'm setting conditions out on fixing the wrongs I have done. For those who have purchased puppets from me or have pony assets within them and still wish for my services, I will happily redo your puppets/vectors free of charge. If you feel the need to, I will say so here and now, though, that I can no longer use your former commission puppets to make more vectors for you, as this would be morally and ethically wrong for me. If you still wish for my services, a new puppet and vectors will have to be made using my original work for free. This is for pony puppets only. Lightning Bliss made a mistake. She used stolen assets from the show itself that she didn't realize were stolen, and then when she was informed that they were stolen, she quickly deleted them, apologized, and offered to replace the stolen assets with ones that she built from the ground up for free, which is what a professional should do. Now, did Vida acknowledge this? Yes, he did, but on his Tumblr page, not YouTube. Now, the problem with this is the fact that not everybody that subscribes to him on YouTube also follows him on Tumblr. And I'm also willing to bet that most of the people that watched his video on Bliss likely aren't aware that this post even exists, where she apologizes for this entire fiasco. So they probably thought, and still do to this day, think that Bliss is some kind of an art thief when she's clearly not. Listen, Vida, I'm not calling you a hypocrite because you stood up against art theft. I'm calling you a hypocrite because you stood up against art theft and then engaged in that exact same behavior yourself. Art theft is bad, okay? Art theft is good when it happens to people I don't like. I deem it to be okay because Lightning Bliss, Josh, Dr. Wolf, and the Secret Rift slit my dog's throat, fucked its dead corpse, pissed on the remains, and then lit it on fire for good measure. So, when I'm stealing art assets from them, that's what makes it okay, because they did all of that to me. Honestly, do you think that Vida is a person that legitimately cares about art theft?
No! No!
He basically exploited the Toon Critic scandal in an attempt to tarnish the career of somebody he didn't like, let's just be honest. Because after all, he has a raging hate boner for Lightning Bliss. And she has a vagina to facilitate that hate boner. Wait a minute, do ponies even have vaginas? Anyways, that's not important. Look, as bad as all of this is, at least we can take solace in the fact that he didn't create a petition in a thinly veiled attempt to get many of Toon Critic's former friends banned from conventions. That's crazy, Togzine. Why would you even say that? No one would be mortally repugnant enough to try it. Vida actually created a petition called Zero Tolerance for Pedophiles and Pedophile Enablers in an attempt to get many of Toon Critic's former friends banned from conventions. No, I am not joking. He actually did this. I was shocked when I found this. I find all of this to be incredibly unbelievable. Now, Toon Critic had a lot of friends. Of course, Josh Scorcher, British Ninja, Lightning Bliss, Sega Sister, Voice of Reason, Dr. Wolf, Silverquill, and those are just the ones that made statements. Of course, I know that Toon Critic has a lot more friends than the ones I just described, but those are the ones I could name off the top of my head. To Vida, it didn't matter that once the allegations that he was a pedophile were proven true, they disassociated themselves from him completely, and it didn't matter that they were hurt and devastated that a man that was their friend for years turned out to be a pedophile. No, that didn't matter, because if Toon Critic is going down, everybody else that's associated with him has to go down too. It's ridiculous. And honestly, he only did this in an attempt to get people he didn't like effectively ostracized from the community. That's what he was attempting to do, while at the same time pretending that he actually gives a shit about the pedophilia problem in the Brony analysis community, when we all know he doesn't. He said it himself, he just likes to fuck with people. Do you honestly think, even for a second, that he cares about any of this shit? Sorry, I don't mean to get so angry, but this just really pisses me off. This was essentially nothing more than a kamikaze attack to try and take down a number of Brony analysts like that. That's all this is. Luckily it failed because, let's be honest, Vida doesn't have any sort of influence or power within this goddamn community. But still, the fact that he even attempted to do this is just insane. Like, seriously, fuck this guy. How the hell is he gonna get on a moral high ground about the pedophilia problem in the Brony analysis community when he is actively attempted to fuck with people that have done nothing to him? Man, I honestly wish I had some rum to deal with this, because I feel like I'm going insane. I would talk about Vida's crusade that Anthony is a pedophile, but I already talked about it in my previous video on him, so if you want to know my full thoughts on the matter, just go ahead and watch that video. However, in my digging, I found some really juicy information that I think you guys would be interested in knowing about. I'm listening to the other doctor who says what the DSM-5 was intended to be, not the doctor who has personal concerns about the potential use of the book. And given I am not diagnosing people, none of what you're arguing against me applies, ergo you have no argument. You show how little you know and understand. I didn't buy into any lies of Buttons. I was the one who told Buttons Anthony was a pedophile in the first place. This was before anyone accused Anthony of anything because of this. That shit comes from me. The reason so many other people jumped on board was because I'm right. Get fucked. Why would you admit that? You've been trying so hard and failing to convince everybody that Anthony is a pedophile, and you drop that bombshell? Really? Wow. For somebody that likes to portray themselves as being so smart, you're pretty fucking dumb. Alright, let's break this down. Vida hates Buttons. That much is true. And according to his incredibly flimsy logic that Anthony is a pedophile, technically, Buttons would be a pedophile too. He even admits it himself.
And Buttons, since no doubt you're going to be watching this, don't think that you're just as innocent regarding the whole pedophilic ERPing case, because if we look at those logs you provided, Anthony was ERPing as an underage kid as well in that session. The two of you, in my eyes, are equally as disgusting and retarded as the other.
So why would he go to someone he hates and thinks is a pedophile just to tell her that the person she used to date is a pedophile? You're probably thinking, wait, that sounds fishy. That doesn't make any sense. That's because it doesn't make any sense. Now, what if I were to tell you that Vida took advantage of Buttons' lack of intelligence just to fuck with Anthony? Would you believe me? Well, if you do believe me, then your faith has been justified, because that's exactly what he did. He knew that Buttons was so brain dead that she would believe anything he told her, and you want to know why? It's because she wanted to take down Anthony, and he wanted to take down Anthony. After all, as the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The point I'm trying to make here is that Vida is fully aware that Anthony isn't actually a pedophile, and let's be honest, he doesn't give a shit about pedophilia or any of the other issues he talks about in his videos. He just said that to fuck with Anthony, and he knew that Buttons would be stupid enough to take the bait, and that's exactly what she did. So if you're wondering why she was going around doing stuff like this,
and actually using all of the CMC and their little school friends, it's like, okay, we will age them up to, you know, young adult status, the way the main six were in the first season.
I hated the villain was fun, but the idea, the fact that Twilight just didn't know who the fuck it was, and I'm like, no.
You have Vida to thank for that. I have to ask this question because I honestly want to know, who do you think is a worse person, Vida or Buttons? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want my honest opinion, I think they're both a bunch of slimy fuckwads that are just as bad as each other. If Vida wants to continue to claim that he's doing this because he has moral integrity, and not because he simply wants to stir up as much drama as possible, I want you to conjure up the biggest laugh you can, because that is a load of poppycock. I mentioned earlier that Vida obtained the Secret Rift art assets from a guy by the name of Foul Play. What I didn't tell you is that Foul Play is a pedophile. Well, to be more technically accurate, he was outed as a pedophile a few months ago. Anthony hosted a call with a bunch of other Brony analysts discussing this. The video was called Urgent Conversation, Please Listen. If you want to watch it, I'll leave a link in the description down below. You want to know the one person who wasn't in the call? Vida. Yeah, and you want to know why? It's because Anthony was hosting the call, and we all know how much Vida cannot stand Anthony. If that isn't an indication of just how petty this motherfucker is, I don't know what is. And then another reason why he wasn't in the call, and I've talked to people that have knowledge of the situation, it was because, and I quote, Foul is a nobody. Let me repeat that, in case you didn't hear it the first time. It was because Foul was a nobody, so he sent Shelly D and WinFusion to take his place instead. Oh boy. I don't understand why he wouldn't want to denounce him as a pedophile. Status and popularity should be irrelevant when it comes to denouncing people that are, you know, diddling kids. That should be irrelevant. Oh, Foul Play isn't a big name. Nobody knows about him. Nobody cares about him. So I can't exploit the whole thing for my benefit. So really, it wouldn't make sense to denounce him as a pedophile. Even though he was sending dick pics to underage girls and role-playing with underage girls. No, I'm not going to denounce him. I'm not going to call out his shitty behavior. I'm just not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to avoid the situation entirely. What's really concerning to me about this is the fact that he likes to portray himself as a pedo crusader, but yet wouldn't denounce someone that was his friend, even though he was a pedophile. That doesn't make any sense. That really doesn't make any sense to me at all. Now, I have another theory as to why he wouldn't denounce Foul, and that's because Foul was the one that gave him the art assets. I'm not sure exactly when Vida obtained them. I do know that they were in the Discord server, the Secret Rift Discord server, and then Foul gave them to Vida. So I'm guessing it was like a private exchange or something like that. Either way, he had possession of this, and then he leaked them in retaliation because the big bad Josh Scorcher was being mean to him. So why would he denounce somebody that helped him screw over a bunch of other people he doesn't like? Think about that. That wouldn't make any sense, right? I mean, look, I don't understand. You can't really explain this or excuse it because it is absolutely inexcusable. Oh, and if you think that's bad, he allegedly it was offered $200 to out another pedophile, a guy by the name of the Director, but didn't do it. No, just.
And on that note, this is the Director. Maybe next week I'll find a set and talk about what a deplorable waste of human space he is. You're a sick, disgusting human being, and to know there are people out there that are covering up for you makes my blood boil. If I possessed the material Vida had on you, you would have been in jail 2 weeks ago. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm offering Vida $100 cash to hand over to the police everything he knows about you. So hopefully you can get a nice bit of jail time. And that's how I'm gonna make peace with what I know. I'm not laughing and I'm not playing, and I totally mean everything I just said. Fuck you and have a nice day.
This is Mintheart, a girl that just happened to be one of the Director's victims, expressing doubt that Vida would ever take Anthony's deal. She knew that he wouldn't agree to it, and she was exactly right because that didn't happen. The allegations never came out, and because of it, he pretty much never got to face the justice that he deserved for doing what he did. Vida supposedly had all this dirt on the Director, proving that he was a pedophile, and if that's the case, why not out him? Why would money even need to be involved? If the guy is a pedophile, and you know he is, just fucking out him. You don't need money. You shouldn't ask people to pay you, just fucking out him. And what's even crazier is that I've heard that he would only do it if Anthony paid him $200. In this video, Anthony says that he offered Vida $100. Either way, money was involved. And then the allegations never came out. Nothing came of it. So, as far as I can tell, the dude got off scot-free. Nothing happened to him. I mean, I'm pretty sure he got ostracized from the community, but he didn't face any jail time. He wasn't convicted. And all because Vida didn't want to out him unless he was paid to do so. But this is the guy that wants to portray himself as a pedo crusader. He hates pedophiles and wants to see them be brought to justice. Right, of course, because, you know, you're Vida and you're always right about everything. And then there's the whole fluffle mixer beefish thing.
I think the funniest accusation is someone while streaming with Mike once, when I was, I think, 16, someone thought I was 30. Like, how? Do I really sound 30?
So you guys started dating when you were 16?
No, 15.
Bullshit.
Me and Mike didn't, I will give you honesty here, me and Mike didn't do anything sexual until after I was legal.
How does this relate to Vida? Well, I've talked to people that were close to that situation, and they've told me that Vida knew about their relationship and didn't say anything. Now, I want to make it abundantly clear that I do not think Flufflemixer is a pedophile. Like B-Fish said in that clip, they didn't do anything sexual until she was of legal age, aka 18. I just want to put that out there. But they started dating when she was 15. Now, I had heard that they had started dating when she was 17, and I was shocked to find out that she was actually 15. Now, I understand why Vida kept this a secret, because he probably didn't want to expose her to any sort of public scrutiny if he were to make a video about it. But, at the same time, I don't understand why he didn't talk to Flufflemixer about it. I don't understand why he didn't question him and say, "What are you doing? Why are you dating an underage girl? That's deeply concerning. That kind of stuff can get you into a lot of trouble." That's just surprising to me why he wouldn't question. I don't get it. I'm guessing because him and B-Fish are friends? I guess that's honestly the only reason I can come up with, but it just is very weird to me why he wouldn't do that, and it makes me very, very, very suspicious about his intentions and how he presents himself. There's also the time when he tried to flirt with B-Fish because, you know, she was 17, or sorry, when she was 17, which is very, very weird. I don't know why he was doing that. Well, to be fair, I do know why, because apparently he has a bit of a crush on her. It's weird. It's walking an uncomfortable tightrope, certainly, but compared to all of the other stuff that Vida has done that I've showcased in this video, that is by far the least egregious. But putting all of that aside, what does Vida think of yours truly? Hey, ThatKidDouglas, one of your fans is being obnoxious in my comment section, and I'm in a punchy mood today. You, me, debate about your issues with me, recorded and posted. Let's fucking go. That so-called obnoxious fan is not even one of my fans. I highly doubt he's even subscribed to my own channel. This was very clearly a thinly veiled attempt from Vida to try and get me to take the bait so I would talk to him in the hopes I would reveal all of the issues I had with him to potentially use against me. He did it because he honestly thinks that I'm as dumb as he is, which I am not. Did you honestly think I was going to give you my hand and say, "Hey, I'm making a video about you. Do you mind not deleting all of the incriminating evidence I plan to use against you? Because I need to collect a large timeline of your shitty behavior so I can use it in my video to make you look like an idiot." I wasn't going to do that. And I know full well that it wouldn't have been me and Vida one-on-one. He would have had his cronies backing him up, because he can't do anything without other people being there with him, because he's too much of a coward to actually face people on his own. And by the way, I actually want to mention that for anyone that has ever had the misfortune of interacting with Vida, you're probably well aware of the fact that if you even dare to speak negatively about him or mention him, he's going to have his cronies backing him up. When I published my first video on him, the day after it came out, he invited me into a Skype call with himself, Shelly D, and Leo Convoy, which perplexed me because Vida's issues were with me. Leo and Shelly didn't need to be there as the situation did not involve them. Now, I'm not sure if this is for every call or debate he has with someone. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know. But it just gives me the impression that you're a coward that can't face people on his own. You always have to get cronies to back you up. It's perplexing to me because you're always boasting about your debating skills and how good you are. But surely, if you're really good at debating, you can face people on your own. You don't need to have other people there with you. That doesn't make any sense. Now, you might be thinking, oh, he's truly a coward if he can't face you on his own. Well, yeah, part of it is because he's a coward, but there's also another reason as to why he cannot face people on his own. Why are you taking Oxy? Pain problems? I was prescribed it for pain, but the pain went away. Now I just use the remaining pills to relax. I've become active in real life, so my stress and anxiety acts up like a motherfucker due to the sudden lifestyle change. The whole anxiety thing would seem to partly explain why he doesn't engage with people on his own, because he's literally so anxious that he has to get other people to share in the burden with him to help quell that anxiety. Now, I would have sympathy for his condition if he didn't go around boasting about his debating skills and calling people pussy bitches. And the whole anxiety thing would seem to also explain the rumors of him being socially awkward. Yeah, I've heard rumors from various people that he's actually pretty socially awkward in real life. Now, I do not know if that is true, those are just rumors that I've heard. But if it is, it would seem to explain so much. It would seem to explain why he's so confident and self-assured in his videos, but then acts a completely different way outside of them. Remember when Midnight Chimes made a video saying this?
So I humoured this request and joined their Discord for a discussion in which they admitted they like to, quote, go fuck with people.
Chimes is not lying. In fact, I can back him up on this, because Vida told me the exact same thing. When I asked him if his hate boner for Anthony was motivated by some sort of personal beef, he just said that he likes to do it because he likes to fuck with people. No, I'm not kidding, he actually said this, and he and his cronies laughed about it as if it was some kind of a fucking joke. I can assure you, I was not amused in the slightest. Look, if you want to fuck with people, that's fine, it's the internet, that's your prerogative, you can do what you want. But don't put it under the guise of being moral. That is incredibly dishonest and disingenuous. I'm not saying you should give up fucking with people. All I'm saying is that you should at least be honest about your true intentions. Like YouTube Dude once said, if you want to have a shit show, have a shit show. Don't half-ass it, and don't mislead people into thinking you're doing this because you have moral integrity when you know full well that you don't. Look, this video has been serious for the most part, but I want to have a little fun. Vida called me a cringy autistic individual on Twitter, and he's not wrong, I'm cringy, autistic, and an individual. But at least I'm not autistic enough to challenge somebody to a sword fight over some petty internet beef.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head. Look at his lips.
I will challenge Anthony to a sword fight, and I will win! I will smite him in front of everybody! It totally doesn't make me look like a cringy autistic retard! I will win, and I will fight, because I'm a fucking weeaboo! Why does Vida do all of this? Why does he have such a hate boner for the brony analysis community? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because he had a disagreement with some big name in the community, who then proceeded to spread rumors about him out of pettiness, and those rumors ruined his reputation. And Vida has pretty much had a vendetta against the community ever since that incident. So yeah, he's motivated by petty revenge, not morals. In fact, he's so motivated by revenge that this is what he thinks about doing to Brony Analyst every morning when he wakes up.
Allahu Akbar!
Let's fire up the examometer and give this channel a score. Vida is the second worst person in the brony analysis community. He's slightly above Buttons and slightly below Lily Peet. Although that's not saying much because comparing these three sociopaths is like saying you had a good bowel movement instead of diarrhea. You honestly thought that I would make this video and make an absolute fool of myself because I'm a cringy autistic individual that's incredibly ignorant and doesn't know what he's talking about? You honestly thought that I didn't have anything on you that wouldn't make you look like a disgusting excuse for a human being? Oh man, I can tell your body is trembling right now because you desperately want to make a response to debunk every point I've made in this video because you honestly think you can destroy me because, after all, I'm just the cringy autistic kid. Yeah, good luck. You're not going to destroy me, you repugnant piece of shit. And if you're honestly thinking about making a response to this video, then don't even bother because I've shown exactly why that isn't a good idea. I normally don't say this, but this time I'm gonna say it unironically and mean it. When this video comes out, I sincerely hope that you are never taken seriously by the brony analysis community ever again. In fact, I hope you get ostracized from the community, because I believe you bring a really toxic presence to a community that's otherwise pretty awesome. And I honestly believe the brony fandom would be a lot better off if you weren't a part of it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was a little long. I just believe it's insanely fucked up that Vida's been allowed to get away with this shit for so long. So I wanted to shine a spotlight on it so that you're all aware about the type of scum this guy really is. I also want to give a huge shout out to everybody that assisted in the research for this video. Thank you so much. You know who you are. Without your help and support, this video wouldn't be half of what it is. Anyways, with all that being said, this is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Unhero, signing out. Deuces, stay frosty and keep it weird. Cue an outro sequence now.